Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here, or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, please do so, along with hitting the thumbs up button for me and dropping your comments. Definitely appreciate the comments. Love them. All right, well, the New York Knicks fell to just 10 games over 500. It still feels good to say that, just 10 games over 500. They've lost the last two games. They could not take care of business down in Miami. The Heat wanted this game. The Heat are battling. They want to get that 6th seed. Right now, they're stuck in 7th. In fact, let's just get right to it. As you can see here, Knicks lost 127-120. They allowed the Miami Heat, the offensively feeble Miami Heat, to score 127 points on them. They shot 57% from the field overall. And they shot 57.1% from behind the arc. So, again, we made them look like the greatest offense, like the Golden State Warriors, just like we did previously. So, it's I'm starting to wonder if it's all just, the minutes, the intensity is all just catching up to them, lingering little nagging injuries. To me, Mitch Robinson didn't look like himself tonight at all. There were many times earlier in the game he was challenging shots, but then he wasn't challenging them later on, which I was wondering what's going on. He didn't box out Bam on a big play. So and then Isaiah Hartenstein, probably one of his worst games he's had in about a month, I would say, because he's been playing very well. Foolish fouls. The Knicks were called for, 17, 18 fouls or something? It feels like half of those were of the offensive foul nature, or or trying to defend. Not just offensive foul, but they weren't fouling shooters, or they were trying to get calls. They weren't getting them. And the refs, once again, these low-rent refs that the NBA has right now is troublesome, and I hope that gets all cleared up in time for the playoffs, because it's a problem. It's a problem, and I will continue to point it out. I don't care. I don't get fined, so I don't care. I'll call it out. In fact, I'll do a whole show pinpointing exact plays where they screwed up. There was a play over on the right baseline near Miami's basket where Jimmy Butler was trapped, and he moved his pivot foot twice, and then he threw the ball out of there, and they didn't call that. They called a charge on Brunson. A block on Brunson, which it wasn't. Randall got frazzled. Not frazzled, but he got frustrated. He didn't get frazzled. He got frustrated. Very different. But again, these two teams play again next Wednesday in New York. So, the Knicks didn't want to give them too much. They didn't want to show that they got the Heat got into their heads too much. They didn't want to reveal that, and that was smart. But Randall, he walked the line. He almost went over the line. He was jibber-jabbering there with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's trying to throw him off his game. So, that's what happens. But when you look at the actual fouls, the actual foul calls were a big disparity. The Knicks got called for 25 fouls, and the Heat only 18. But the Knicks went to the charity stripe 25 times, and the Heat went 26 times. So in terms of actual charity stripe being rewarded at the charity stripe, it didn't really happen for Miami Heat. But what they got rewarded with was they got the ball handed to them. About half these fouls turned into turnovers, and the Knicks, bad night for turnovers for them. 17 turnovers for the Knicks compared to only 10 for the Heat, and that was the big difference. Miami got 20 points off of the Knicks' 17 turnovers, and we only got what did we get? 9 points. So that's a plus 11 in the Heat's favor. So it's hard to overcome when you're playing when you have two opponents on the court. You have the team, Miami Heat, and you have these refs. So it's I'm becoming very, very annoyed. Very, very annoyed. They got to do something about it. Let's get to this part here. Here's looking at the Eastern Conference standings. Like I said, the Knicks are now 42-32. 10 games over 500. But they're still 2 games ahead of Brooklyn. and Miami's right there behind the. Actually they're tied in the games behind, but statistically Nets are up a little bit because they've actually played 2 less games. So again, the weird scheduling of the NBA. So right here, I don't know, the win. Miami looked good, and I got a feeling that Miami's going to end up with that 6th seed. That's what it feels like. So Miami's going to get that 6th seed, and I don't think the Hawks are going to be able to catch the Nets. So the Nets will probably finish 7th, and then it's just a battle there for 8, 9, and 10. Who knows what's going to end up happening? Only 2 games separate those 3 teams. So it's pretty congested there at the bottom. But the Knicks, it would have been nice to have gotten at least one of these last 2 games. We could have won both in reality, especially on a night where Julius Randle did not even, he didn't shoot that well. Following his 57-point monster performance, he just wasn't able to put it together tonight. I think he's gassed. I think he's also looking forward to the playoffs. It's just human nature to be doing that. So it's kind of, but they have to maintain their focus. We'll get into some other stuff later, but let's get into this. New York, NBA _New York basketball tweeted this out. It's a quote from Clyde about Willis Reed, who passed away. R.I.P. Mr. Willis Reed, a tremendous player and a tremendous leader, a tremendous role model. Definitely was for me when I was a kid. I had a Reed jersey when I was younger. It was really more of a T-shirt. It was a T-shirt. Couldn't afford jerseys when I was a kid. You just got a T-shirt, and it probably came from Canal Street. It probably had READ on the back for all I remember. But for me, it meant a lot when I saw him coming out of the tunnel there in that final game when the Knicks were in the finals. That was a tremendous boost. He was incredible. And so here, there's a quote from Clyde in honoring of Willis Reed. "I'm wearing 2 rings. I'd be wearing more if Willis Reed remained healthy. The way this man played the game, the respect he had, never had another leader like Willis. I always say he's the greatest Knick of all time because I learned from Willis. I owe a lot to that man." And we owe a lot to that man as well as fans, and he'll be missed. He wasn't there for the celebration of that team. I don't recall. I think that was about 3 weeks ago or so. He wasn't able to be there, and it was obviously because he was falling ill. So that's a sad passing in the Knicks family. I hope all my condolences go out to his family, and we're all thinking about you. Here we go. Here are the stats in this game. So like I was saying, Randle just didn't have the 3-point shot today. 1 of 5 from behind the arc. Did connect 7 of 16 overall. So he was 6 of 11 from inside the arc. But he wasn't aggressive. Wasn't attacking the basket enough as far as I was concerned. But he ended up with 9 assists. So good for him, and 15 points, 6 rebounds. Mitch Robinson started off having a good game, an impact game, and then he just drifted off. I think it was the foul troubles. It could have been he collided his knee with another player. I think Strus kind of tied him up, and Mitch fell on top of him, and he bumped his knee on the hardwood. So there could be some soreness. I mean, this was game 74 of the season. Game 74, only 9 games left. So these guys are tired. And we know how Thibs grinds them down into a pulp. So let's hope that, we can go on a little winning streak here. So then towards the end of the season, those last 3 or 4 games, Thibs can find some rest for these guys. And if we hold on to that 5th seed, then we will have a week off once the season ends before the actual first round begins. So that'll help as well. That'll help everybody. It'll help everybody. Let's see here. So Mitch, 8 rebounds, 10 points, just missed the double-double. He got 1 assist, and man, there was a beautiful moment there. He was about to kind of hand the ball off to, I don't know who it was, Brunson or something, and instead he kept it, dribbled around, I think it was Kevin Love or Struz. I can't remember. Whoever was guarding him dribbled around him for a dunk from the top of the free throw line. From the top of the, actually, it was right about the three-point line, actually. Drove and dunked it. Does that like twice a season. So this was the second time we've seen it. We may never see it again until next year. But let's hope not. I'd like to see more of that when he has an opportunity, a little surprise bucket. Why not? Jalen Brunson, 37 minutes for him. You can see his field goal, obviously inside the arc, he was pretty efficient, 10 of 16, 2 of 6 from behind the arc, 6 rebounds for him, 5 assists, 25 points. His stat line looks amazing, but he doesn't look his usual amazing self. There's definitely something a little bit off with him. I don't know, maybe that foot is still bothering him. I know, from experience, feet can linger. You can play through stuff, but the soreness is there. You don't quite have that lift. And you can see it. He's not as... He doesn't have the full toolbox when he enters the paint anymore in terms of his little moves, his little hesitations, his little drawing the defender to commit, and then he can get around him. He doesn't have all of that mobility right now. And then the inverse negative aspect to that is on the defensive end, he is now being targeted. The Heat targeted him several times, and it definitely has hurt. So this is, again, another thing to be concerned about in terms of playoff success. Right now, I'm focused on what we're going to do in the playoffs. So when I'm watching these games, that's what I'm thinking about at this moment. Like, how are we going to address that? How are we going to address that? Of course, in a series, you have a little more time to make adjustments, from one game to the next, and you're facing the same opponent, so that definitely helps you. But it also can hurt you. Because the same thing, the other team's doing the same thing, so they could even find more ways to target Jalen. So the Knicks are going to have to do a better job, and Jalen's got to get fully healthy. Let's hope he does. Let's hope that from now, before the first round begins, that foot can finally not be a concern for him, and he can just go full bore, just attack in full attack mode. Let's hope. But interestingly, the two guys that we've been needing to shoot and score from the outside, okay, are the two guys that did it tonight. And it's one of the main reasons the Knicks were still flirting with the ability to win this game even late. Now, the Knicks did take the lead at one point. I think it was like 98 or 99, 98 or something like that, or 98, 97, something like that. And then gave it back, and we took the lead back again, 100-98. And then I think Bam hit a couple of free throws. Again, silly fouls that turned into turnovers. And then I think Max Strus hit a three-pointer, and pretty much the game kind of just unraveled from that point. And at one point, the Heat were able to build a 12-point lead, I think, even late in that fourth quarter. The Knicks were able to whittle it down, but just not enough to overcome that, especially late in the game in Miami. So, but they were trying. But here we go, R.J. Barrett. Look at it, the leading scorer on the team, 26 minutes. 6 rebounds for him, 5 dimes. Excellent game for him. 3 of 6 from behind the arc, 8 of 13 overall. And his defense, they obviously the whole team, when you give up 127 points, the whole team's got to take it upon themselves that they didn't do the job. But in this particular case, it really wasn't necessarily on RJ tonight. So, but everyone's got to take the blame for that. What I did notice is that when he was out of the game, the team struggled. The team struggled mightily. And I think that Thibs made a big mistake when he took RJ out in that second quarter, because he starts. RJ comes out in first quarters, towards the end of first quarters, around the 4-minute mark, and he comes back in to start the second quarter, and he leads that second unit. But he was very effective, very impactful, and I felt like when he left, the team was lacking his size out there, and Miami was able to build up a little lead. Now the Knicks were able to whittle it down at the half, but still, it made them work much, much harder. What was the halftime score? Let's see. The Knicks had scored. Yeah, the Knicks scored 61 points, but we allowed 64. 64-61. So we were able to close it down, just a 3-point deficit at the half, but they had to work hard on it. But Thibs did bring RJ back in, so that was interesting. So he noticed it as well. So we might start seeing RJ may have gotten over something, his like shooting woes. And in his defense, as I pointed out a couple of recaps ago, he's been the best defender of all the starters since the All-Star game. So maybe he's finally figured something out and just in time. We're definitely going to need the young guys on this team. Well, everyone's young on this team. So not going to get into that right now. But the other guy who was really instrumental was Quentin Grimes. Again, only 26 minutes for a guy who was just snapping that net from behind the arc. Hard to understand why he wasn't in that fourth quarter, especially when Josh Hart actually had his first subpar game as a Knick, I think, that I can even remember. And I'll show you, even the plus minus tells a story. Despite getting 12 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 3 of 5, 2 of 3 from behind the arc, he made some silly fouls. He made some silly turnovers. He didn't. He did rotate over in time and stuff, but a lot of times he was a little slow. He was a little slow out there on the perimeter. But the way he's been playing, it's hard to fault Thibs for going with him. But it was his first somewhat subpar game. But someone who did have a subpar game was Immanuel Quickley. Only played 19 minutes, only 1 of 8. That's it. 1 of 5 from behind the arc. He did get 4 rebounds and 3 assists with 5 points, but not a good night for him. If Quickley or Randall have anything close to a regular game for them, Knicks win this game. So that's why I'm not that distressed. However, we got extra sauce from Grimes and RJ tonight to kind of make up for that. And Brunson gave us his 25. All 5 starters finished in double digits. But it was just an odd night. Look, we even shot 40% from behind the arc, 51.2% overall. Normally, that's good enough to win. 28 assists for the Knicks. That's tremendous. 42 rebounds. This should have been a win. Should have been a win when you look at it all like that. But want to show you here. It's just to celebrate Quentin Grimes. Kirk Goldsberry put this out on Instagram and Twitter. This is leading scorers by zone. Most points per game by zone in 2022-23 season. As you can see, I got him circled there in the bottom. It's really technically the left corner when you're facing the basket. It's Quentin Grimes. He is the leading scorer from the corner, and that's great. And you saw it tonight. That's where actually he caught a few. That's where he finally got hot from there, and then he found his stroke from all over the place. Shot 6 of 10 from behind the arc. And as you can see, Giannis, of course, owns right under the basket. Al Horford is the other guy on the other side. His mirror is Al Horford in the right corner. And Kevin Durant, of course. Durant, look at him. 4 different zones for Durant. Unbelievable. DeMar at the free throw line. Clay above the break on the right. And Damian above the break on the left. And, of course, the man himself, Stephen Curry, right there from the center. Let's see here. Let's get to the plus minus. You can see Randall was a -6. Mitch was the only plus starter, and he is the only plus player. At one point, there were RJ was a plus player, but he was out on the court in that fourth quarter when the lead got out of hand. Actually, no, he was brought back also in that fourth quarter. Same thing happened. He was brought back in to help out, and then Grimes came in to replace Hartenstein or Mitch, whoever was at the center, and the Knicks went small in that to close the fourth quarter there. -6 for Randall, +2 for Robinson, a -4 for Jalen Brunson, a -2 for RJ, and Grimes was even, 0. Obi, didn't talk much about him, but I liked Obi's game tonight. 4 rebounds, 1 dime for him. He handed it off to, was it Mitch? Yeah, I think it was Mitch. A nice little handoff to him. He was a -1, but he could not connect from behind the arc. I think he was also 1 and 5 from behind the arc. Deuce got in there. I guess that must have been just at the very, very end. Josh Hart, -10. So Isaiah Hartenstein and Josh Hart, the heart-to-heart boys to men, whatever, they were minus in the double digits of plus minus tonight. And it showed, they just weren't able to take care of business while they were out there. Basically, and you can't even tell because Hart didn't even get called for a foul here, according to this chart. But I saw that he got called for a foul, so I don't know. But Hartenstein, you can see 5 fouls for him. Silly fouls, too. Silly fouls. And once again, another 3-point bucket make by Immanuel Quickley got called off because of Isaiah Hartenstein creating an offensive foul. A screen. And was it debatable? Yeah, it was debatable, but still, why even get into that situation? It just got to play up here now. We're up here now. That's what this is all about. These guys got to get sharper. They got to get smarter. Dumb teams don't win, against good teams in the NBA unless they get super hot, but not over time. Smart teams win. I want to start seeing some smartness come through with these Knicks. We've been seeing it, but then they'll have these default moments. And that might come, and I hate to say it, being the minutes police, might come from some fatigue, so we'll see. All right, let's go to Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler really did hurt us, especially in that second half. He pretty much took over. He started talking trash and getting inside people's heads, doing the Jimmy Butler thing. 35 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds for him. 11 of 19 overall. Hit both of his 3-point attempts. Bam Adebayo, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Wasn't that much of a factor offensively, but his defense is always an issue. But look at the other guys. Gabe Vincent, 8 of 12, 3 of 5 from behind the arc for 19 points. Tyler Hero, 4 of 7. He hit a tremendous 3-point bucket from the left corner that really hurt the Knicks. I think that kind of pretty much sealed the ability of the Knicks to come back in this game. Kevin Love, pretty much a non-factor for him. But Kyle Lowry, they dusted off Kyle Lowry, and they put him out there. He came through for them, 14 points on 5 of 9 shooting. And Max Strus, who just never seems to miss, and against the Knicks, 3 of 4 from behind the arc, 11 points. And I feel like all 3 of his 3-pointers were just deadly. But you can see, look what the Miami Heat shot, 57% overall, 57.1% from the 3-point line. It's crazy. You can't win when you allow teams to shoot like this. So I pretty much almost rattled through all of these stats here. As you can see, we are taking care of business at the free throw line, which is nice. We're definitely going to need that ability to transcend itself into the playoffs. That's a very, very key thing right there. Assists, you can see the Knicks were even with Miami Heat, 28. 7 steals for us, 9 for them. 5 blocks for us, 1 for the Heat only. But look, the turnovers. The turnovers and the refs were the story. Of course, Randall struggled. Randall gives us his regular 25, we win this game. Or Immanuel Quickley gives us his regular 15 or 18 points, we win this game. But even regardless, we got production from other places, so we should still have been able to win this game with our defense, and we weren't able to, which is a shame. It's a bummer, man. Big bummer. Oh, man. Well, the Knicks, it's a quick turnaround. They fly up to Orlando tonight, and they take on the Orlando Magic tomorrow night. So I will see you around the Knicks-Verse tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, yes. Maybe I'll go live. We'll see. Hit that thumbs up button for me. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Follow me on Twitter right here and Instagram, and, of course, here on YouTube. And drop your comments. Definitely want to hear your feelings about this game itself. Someone messaged me saying they were at the game. A jumper's wet, and he said that the refs were terrible. They weren't. They were definitely a problem for the Knicks. So there you go. All right. Thank you for watching this, and I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.